What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Conversation Piece, your place to discover the untold stories of Indianapolis through the perspectives of its beautiful people. My name is Patrick Armstrong. I am your host, and this is The Open Door, our monthly series where we literally open the studio door and sit down with members of the community to talk about whatever is on their hearts. If you want to learn more or are interested in participating, go to conversationpeacepod.com and click on the open door at the top of the page. And last but not least, shout out to Life in Indy and the team over there for sponsoring this series. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. My guest today is Katie Slonim. Katie, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is really exciting.
I'm super excited to sit down and have this conversation with you. For folks that are tuning in right now who don't know who you are, do you mind sharing just a little bit more about yourself?
Of course. So I'm an Indianapolis resident and I run a business called Mixo Indy. We teach cocktail and mixology workshops in and around the city and, greater area. And they're a ton of fun. And like my life involves a lot of experimenting with like cocktails and drinks and food too, but
mostly the cocktails.
The cocktails are where the money's at, really. So
for sure, I like it. So how did you get into cocktailing?
That's a great question. My husband and I wanted to do it as a hobby at first.
Was this a pandemic hobby or?
No, prior to that, actually.
This is for real. That's how you know it's for real.
Yeah, well, and when I turned 21, and not a minute sooner, mind you, I've always been really into food, right? And like food and like the flavor combinations and stuff. And so it was this really natural transition. This whole world of cocktails and mixology opened up, and I'm like, the rules can't be that different. Right. Sure. So I started experimenting around with different flavors and things like that and just ended up getting way more into it than my husband ever did. I mean, he was just like, I just want a drink or something, and I was like, let's try a new liqueur or whatever. And that's kind of how I started getting into cocktails. Okay. And then I started noticing all my friends would talk about, man, I love drinks. Like, everyone's getting into cocktails. But I don't know anything about drinks. Like I kept hearing that, like, oh, this is such a mystery to me. I could never.
Sure. And
I was like, you really could though. Yeah, you could. Like you could. And it's not that hard. It's not rocket science. And so, and I also have like a passion for teaching and entrepreneurship.
Sure.
And so I wanted to start a company that like taught people how to make drinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not that. And like get hands-on experience too. Because like when you finally get your hands on something and you've actually made the drink, it demystifies it all for you.
For sure.
And
I wanted to taste a little bit better too.
I mean, yeah, some do. Okay. You have to go through a lot of bad ones to get to the good ones. But as my husband will tell you, he's my taste tester. I kind of combined those two passions of teaching and entrepreneurship and started teaching cocktail workshops.
Okay.
Back in 2021.
Were the workshops, is that the origin of Mixo, or was it just like, I'm going to do some stuff for friends that want to do this when you were starting?
We really started out like
you were
advertising them, branded and ready to go. Well, I had the idea at the beginning of COVID, okay? And so beginning of COVID, I had this idea and I like created a business plan. I created the branding. I had the name. I had like the cost to start up, like all ready to go. And even the education stuff I had. And then I had to wait on starting that because no one's starting a party business in 2020. So I started it in 2021 with stimulus money. Okay. And turns out people really like making drinks at home, especially during that time. It was like kind of a selling point. Yeah. It was my default. It's what I had to do to teach them in people's homes.
Okay.
And people ended up really, really liking that aspect of it.
I love it.
They could just be with their bubble.
For sure.
And I was vaccinated and everything. So
that's great to hear. I mean, we might be shutting it down if the other case. No, I'm kidding.
Ouch. No, but yeah, so it ended up being a really great selling part and it just sort of took off from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through what like a workshop would look like just so in like a quick 5-minute like elevator workshop?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, way less than 5 minutes. So A workshop looks like you would book the class and we would arrive at your door with absolutely everything.
Okay.
And we kind of pride
I don't
ourselves.
need to have anything.
You don't need to have anything.
Okay.
We pride ourselves on that part of it because we never know what we're going to walk into. Every setup for a class is slightly different. So like, are you going to have the right ice or the right glassware? So we bring all of that, all the right ingredients. We bring decorations for the table. We bring soap to clean up afterwards because you'd be surprised that some people just don't have, like if you're at an Airbnb, for example, there's like not soap. And so we bring everything, we set it all up in your dining room or wherever, and you and your friends can go through a guided mixology lesson. We make 2 drinks during our classes. Each drink kind of has a different sort of vibe, like they're very different from one another. And this is the important part. They demonstrate different techniques.
Oh, okay.
So one is going to demonstrate this technique. The other is going to demonstrate this technique. And you can kind of get the most knowledge out of that experience. So it's like a party format / workshop type deal.
Sure.
And really, we use a method of teaching in our classes. I made this up. It's called the formula method or the recipe method. Or formula method or template method.
Okay.
As opposed to recipe method.
All right.
Okay, so you said before we started.
Yes, I'm a recipe guy.
That you're a recipe guy and your wife is not. And if I just teach people these recipes, they'd be able to go home and make the recipe, which is great.
Sure.
But if I teach you the formula that I used to come up with the recipe, this is a much more effective way of learning.
Sure.
So much more effective. If you can understand those elements of the cocktail and the flavor, the families of cocktails that exist, a whole new world is going to open up.
For sure.
So you're going to have so many benefits to kind of making that mindset switch. You're going to be able to come up with your own cocktails at home, read menus at bars much more effectively, and make sure you're going to get what you want. You're going to be able to come up with, pick up an ingredient you've never seen before and know immediately how to use it.
Okay.
You're going to be able to switch out ingredients in cocktails that you didn't like, couldn't find, or can't have. So
like the music theory version of cocktail making.
Sure, I don't know anything about music theory.
Well,
that's
like
my husband's
It's like the concept.
territory.
It's like you give a man a fish, they can eat for a day.
Yes.
You teach a man to fish, they can eat forever.
Yeah,
so it's like
exactly.
Yeah.
And so we really focus on that in our classes, and we try to get people to think about the spirit that they're using as a spirit element, as opposed to you have to use bourbon in an old fashioned, or like you have to use gin in a French 75. Like, really, that is so swappable. We have this little pamphlet that we hand out to people, and it's got our branding on it, but it's got all the different formulas.
Okay.
So like, the spritz formula is a liqueur, a sparkling wine, and soda. The old-fashioned formula is spirit, sweet, bitters. The sour formula is spirit, sweet, sour. The espresso martini formula is spirit, liqueur, espresso. So like, if you just start thinking of it that way, you can swap in whatever you happen to have on hand.
Yeah. Okay, I like it because I've been getting into cooking recently, and I think I'm approaching it that way. I'm like, I'm looking at a recipe, and I'm like, okay, we don't have this, but what do we potentially have? So I'm Googling, what are substitutes? And then I'm like, well, I don't have apple cider vinegar. So what can I substitute for that? And it's just a whole thing.
It's a very similar approach with cooking.
Yeah. Well, and I like the formula aspect because it's like you've taken away the amount. So like half a cup, a pinch, or whatever it is. And it's just like, these are the things. And if you can swap out this thing for another thing, you can still make a thing.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Any particular cocktail that you feel like is the one that people have to be trying?
Oh, of course. And we have it in actually 2 different classes that we run. It has this cocktail in it because I love it so much. And I was thinking about taking it off the menu a while back, and my friend was like, you can't do that.
Take it off.
And I totally agree. It's called the Margarita Negra.
Okay.
And it's the thing I make for anyone when they come over to my house.
Sure.
It's basically a simple margarita that swaps out the swaps out the orange liqueur for coffee liqueur.
Okay. I was just about to ask. I'm like, is it a coffee?
It's a coffee drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And oh my goodness, I know it sounds weird on paper, but anyone who takes a sip, they're like, oh, that is different. That is special. We put different bitters in it and stuff, and that's fun. Sometimes I put mezcal, sometimes not. Sometimes it's spicy, sometimes it has a rim. But if you just swap out that orange liqueur for coffee liqueur, something magical happens. And so that's the one I always tell people is like, I need to make people aware of this.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try and make one of those. I think that would be right up Emily's alley. I love this idea of like simplifying the process. Was there was there a moment that you realized like this was how I can, like, this is what makes cocktailing so fun, is like that I can get down to the base instinct of it, and then other stuff can just happen. Like, was there a moment like that, or was it just the trial and error of like being a hobby and then taking it further?
Actually, there was, and I think it was I was at an event at Tinker House.
Oh, okay.
The very first year that I started, 2021, it was like a holiday event, and I was like serving little samples of things and telling people about my business, and everybody who came up to the table, and like, I don't know, 100, 150, 200 people came up, and I told everybody the same spiel. And I realized like that was how I workshopped the spiel.
Oh, okay.
It was like just saying it over and over and over again. When I arrived to the event, I didn't have an idea of what I was going to say. And when I got done with the event, I was like, I've said this hundreds of times already. And then that was like sort of started the baseline of like, my husband tells me that I'm a very bottom line person. Like I'm always looking for what can we like boil this down to at the very simplest core. And I do that with all kinds of things in mixology. Yeah. I have my little speeches for every single different like aspect of cocktails.
Well, I think effective communication is communication at its simplest form. And that's how we're going to get people to do stuff, because as soon as you start adding words in, which I do all the time because I'm a rambler, people are like, I'm tuned out now.
Hey, that's good though. You run a podcast, so like that really works in your favor.
I gotta fill some time sometimes. But judging by some statistics, no. Anyways, so you've been doing this. Did you grow up in Indy?
No, I grew up in North Carolina.
Okay. But you were here in Indy prior to starting pandemic and starting like the cocktailing stuff. Right? So you got some time.
Yeah, okay. I've got a little bit of time. Since 2019, we lived here. And as soon as we moved here.
Gotcha. Okay. So in that time, you not only like become part of the city, but you started a business that's had impact and far-reachingness within the city itself. Indy is in the name of your business.
Right.
What does Indianapolis mean to you specifically?
I would say collaboration. So I've worked with a lot of people, and I've almost never encountered someone who isn't wanting to collaborate in some way, shape, or form.
Interesting.
And when it comes to entrepreneurship and building a business, like, yes, word of mouth is important.
Right.
Social media is important and all of that stuff. But I think the ways that we've seen the most growth has been partnering with different companies, different people in the city and throughout the city. And so I've just experienced an incredible amount of support from people who had never had a drink, like him. He never tried a drink before, doesn't know if I'm good at this or not, but supports Mixo anyway.
Sure.
And, I think they think, oh, how bad could it be, right? But someone's got to like it. But there's so much support happening for small businesses, minority businesses, women in business. All those things are very important to me, and partially because they did it for me. So I scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yeah.
Type of situation.
Best practice for like an emerging entrepreneur, small business owner for approaching collaboration in the city. I think that's been an interesting thing that we've been trying to explore, is like, how do people come to collaboration? Because I think people have an idea of it, but how we approach it can be a little bit different. So for you, best practice,
Best practice for me is going to be specifically related to Instagram and using Instagram, because that is where I built most of my business. And I would say go to the events and tag everyone you absolutely can.
Okay.
If you do those things and you don't ask for anything at that point, you're not reaching out to people and asking for something, but you're just supporting and you're being there. Like, I mean, you know what it's like. You go to the events and you're like, I recognize that person. That person's at all these events.
100%.
And, would you like to be connected with them? Of course. Yeah. Yes. Right. So that's what very shortcut. See, I just boiled it down to like.
I like it. Simple. Social media, tag everybody you know.
Yeah. Go to the events, tag everyone you know on social media.
Yeah. And it never hurts to say hi to those people before you tag them. Yeah. But don't go in asking for stuff.
I mean, not yet.
Yeah, we don't lead with transaction. We lead with relationship building, and then we see how we can work together to do incredible things for each of us.
Definitely,
because each of us doing incredible things lead to incredible things for the city and the community of Indianapolis as a whole.
Oh yeah.
Katie, I appreciate you coming through and sharing a little bit about what Mixo is doing. Gonna need to have you back for a longer conversation, and maybe even some cocktail demonstrations on the pod. We gotta do something like that.
Yes, we totally can do that.
Okay, now I'm having ideas swirl in my head. So before I get caught up in all of that, as we get ready to exit out of here, for people who are interested in learning more, taking a class, following and supporting what Mixo is doing, how do they do that? How do they find y'all after
Great question. You can find us on Instagram, Mixo Indy, MixoIndy. And that would probably be my favorite way for you to support us, is giving us a follow and following along. I mean, we post all kinds of fun stuff like stories and reels and recipes. That's fun. Mixoindy.com if you want to learn about classes and our different like packages, and especially the cocktails themselves. We've got a lot of fun recipes on there. All the different class types and what they involve and that kinds of things. That the website's a good place for that. And then Instagram is just a great community that we invest a lot in.
Love it. At Mixo Indy. Get on Instagram. Support, tag, follow, like, share, and save. Because we got to beat these algorithms. Katie, thank you so much for coming through. I really appreciate your time.
This was really fun.
Absolutely. Everybody else, make sure you check out Mixo. All of those things linked in the show notes. And go to conversationpiecePod.com to check out everything Conversation Piece related. Shout out to Life in Indy for sponsoring this series. And until next time, I've been Patrick Armstrong. This has been The Open Door on Conversation Piece. See y'all soon.